Hey guys, Creator Mom. The lighting is dark. So yesterday I made a video about how I was in a situation where I wanted to say no, but I didn't. And even when I trace back in my mind, I think about how like I could have said no, like it would have been totally fine. And I was thinking about the action that I did that they asked me to do, and I was like, it didn't even feel right. Like, it didn't even feel good. It didn't even feel inspired because I think because I was so conflicted and I didn't truly want to do what I was doing, but I felt like I had to, isn't it? And people would say, well, that's dumb. Why do you feel like you have to? I wish that no one would ever have to force me to make boundaries or to say no, right? Like, I wish that everyone just knew like what was appropriate to do and ask and what wasn't, right? But then again, I guess everybody has different boundaries and only you can enforce what your own boundaries are. So really, I know that it all comes back to me. Like, I know that I can't blame the people outside of me. I just can't, because I know that I have to be the one to enforce who I am, what I stand for, what I'll do, and what I'll not do, how I'll be treated and how I'll not be treated. So it is my responsibility, unfortunately, to feel uncomfortable sometimes, and I don't like that. See, like, I would rather avoid feeling uncomfortable. And I think that that is the reason why we say yes, or why we just go along with the narcissist, for instance. And not everybody that you have to set boundaries with or say no to is a narcissist. I don't know, maybe most people will be, though. I have no idea. But when you go against a narcissist and when you put your foot down with boundaries, it feels scary as fuck. It feels mad uncomfortable. And I don't want to feel that way, right? But it's almost like choosing between life or death. It's like, well, if you don't choose the boundary, if you don't choose life, then if you choosing to go along with someone else outside of you and dishonor yourself, then basically you're choosing death for yourself. You're like, I choose death. I choose to oppress myself. I choose to suppress myself because I don't find myself worthy enough to deal and push through, essentially push through these uncomfortable feelings. My friend Karen tells me this very important thing. I went to go try to obtain some of my belongings, some of our belongings, finally. And the ex was there. But anyways, as I was going, I felt very nervous. I wasn't even gonna go, and then my cousin was here, so I decided, you know what, let's do it, because I have somebody else with me. My dog's being a silly Billy again because she just ate. Anyways, so we go, and we're going, and I'm just telling my friend Karen how nervous I am and everything. She goes, those are just old feelings, like, just ignore them. You know what I mean? They're there, just ignore them. And I think that that's very important because we've already acknowledged that we feel them, but we understand also that we cannot allow ourselves to be controlled by those feelings because they're not going to serve us. They're death. If I listened to it, I would be choosing death for myself. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be choosing life. I wouldn't be choosing to overcome in that moment. or something in me was telling me I was ready to go do it, but still I was feeling those feelings. So ignore it is great advice, I think, in that situation. Just ignore it. So when I feel uncomfortable or when I feel afraid about saying no or making a boundary, I have to just ignore those looping, like Not Your Guru said that you can loop, and I'm like, I do that. I loop because I'll think about it over and over. Like, you know what I mean? And the loop really makes no sense. The loop is like a bunch of noise and confusion. It's just like, and all it does is make me avoid being bold enough to do what I want to do. So basically, ignore the loop, ignore the old programmed emotions, ignore the fuck out of them, and just do what you know brings life to you, right? So, lastly, I just want to end by saying that I need to change my programming in my mind about this. So instead of me thinking thoughts like, I have a hard time saying no, I have a hard time setting boundaries, I have a hard time honoring myself, right? I want to be the opposite of that now. So I have to think thoughts of the opposite. I have to start myself off on a different path, which means that saying I am things that I haven't totally seen yet, but I want my body to go into that direction. So I have to use my rudder to speak in that direction so that I can go in that direction. So my new adaptive beliefs about myself, and maybe you want to steal some of these for yourself. Some of them are a little bit long, so I wouldn't take them necessarily verbatim, but kind of like the basic idea of it. So number one is I always say no when I want to say no. That could be the new thing that I tell myself. Because when I say that, then I will start saying no when I want to say no. You know what I mean? Instead of continuing to tell myself the old story that I have hard time saying no. So I always say no when I want to say no. I always say no when I want to say no. I have no problem saying no when I want to say no. I honor my no above someone else's desire, right? I honor my no above someone else's yes, maybe, right? I am allowed to say no to things or people without any explanation. Narcissists, they always want an explanation, but I'm like, this is not just for dealing with narcissists, this is just for dealing with people in general, because people will push your boundaries. Some people are just users, and they're not, I don't know if they would be considered narcissists or not. You'd have to go through and, see if they kind of hit a certain amount of requirements, but some people have a habit of just using others because it's convenient. So I am allowed to say no to things or people without an explanation of why. Because I don't want to. It's a very good explanation if we needed an explanation. I don't want to. I am good at making boundaries. I am good at making boundaries. I'm good at setting my boundaries. So these are the things that I'm going to start to implement into my thought life so that I can see my desired results, right? So that my desires can harden into fact. All right, everyone. Have a great day and good luck with setting boundaries and saying no when you want to say no. I know it can be hard, but you got this. We got this.